Hey everybody, it's Tiffany. I'm back with Meet the Trainers, and I get to introduce someone who is teaching at TACCon for the very first time. Not a first time attendee, and certainly not a new trainer, of course. But Tom invited Mr. Don Redl to join the TACCon trainers cadre this year, and I am excited to learn more about his class. But first, Don, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited to have you. And please tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. My name is Don Redl. I own and operate, I'm the managing partner of two different private investigation agencies, Executive Options, which is in Florida and Wyoming, and Apex Intelligence Group, which is specifically in New York. What we do is, with inside both companies, we do investigations, security consulting, and executive protection, of course, and training. So got into this way early on in the early 90s. I was living in New York at the time, and I was a competitive pistol shooter. I earned an IDPA master rating early on. Then in 1994, New York State passed the Security Guard Regulation Act. I forget exactly what they call it, but prior to that, it was an unregulated industry.
Mm.
So I kind of dove into that as an instructor. I had to go to the NRA law enforcement program. They were giving it at the Marine Corps base in Quantico. Completed that, got certified as a New York State DCJS instructor, and started teaching the program. It opened up a school through New York State and got involved early on in the program up there. And in that program, it didn't matter what you did as a security guard. If you were the young, new person in the business watching the cameras at a big box store, or if you were protecting the CEO of a Fortune 100 company in Manhattan, you had to go through the same training program. Everyone had to get the same license. So we were teaching a lot of courses, putting a lot of people through the 47-hour armed guard course, and meeting a lot of interesting people. And that's how I got kind of brought into the executive protection industry because I met a lot of folks that were in there at a high level. So we started doing that as well, and parlayed that into investigations. And along the way, we've just kind of developed the two different companies. And also back in the early 90s, one of my very first, I guess, my very first introduction to force on force training with simunition was at NTI. On the NTI, I used to go to all the NTIs, and I think it was at Gun Site 95 or 96, whenever that was. And I was immediately hooked on it. You know, it was something I said, "Wow, this is something that really speaks to me." Because although I was a competitive shooter, I was more defense oriented. That's kind of where my passion was. I got hooked on force training and understood the value of it from both the teaching and the testing perspective early on. So I went to simunition instructor school. They allowed me into their law enforcement program because I was a state certified instructor and I had a state school. So I got brought into that. I think I've probably been through their program probably 7 or 8 times throughout the years.
Wow.
It's good. But anyways, we're doing a lot of force on force classes, at least one a month for a number of years. And now the whole training side of our business is really more focused on we do the DCJS stuff, but everything else we do is either for corporate clients or we're hosted by someone else to have us come in and do a course. Just because for it's more of a logistics thing. It just kind of works out better off that way and doesn't interfere with the other parts of the business. But so the core, and now what's happened over the years is I've become recognized as a subject matter expert in force on force training and training accident cases, firearms training accident cases, use of force cases. So, we review cases and we'll testify and things of that nature. So, what I'm going to do at TACCON this year is we're going to go over force on force training, the evolution of it, the history of it, the purpose behind it, how to do it properly, and all the ways that other people are also doing it and creating these problems, and then go over some of the catastrophic cases that I've actually worked on. And it's going to be really good for someone who's never done force on force training before, or even someone who's done plenty of it, or someone who's an instructor, because they're going to get to see some things from my perspective as a subject matter expert working on cases that have ended in catastrophic results. And we're going to highlight a couple of the cases that I didn't work on but are well known, so we can kind of dive into them as well. and it's
Very
all close.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot. And hey, if you're working primarily in executive protection, I imagine you're very busy right now. So thank you again for lending us some of your time and expertise. Folks, Don's class is called Catastrophic Force on Force Training Accidents. And as you heard, he's got tons of firsthand experience and expertise in that area. So don't miss it. And you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. You do not have to be a force on force expert or even have any experience in force on force training to get something out of this class. So I encourage everybody to join Don, and everybody help me welcome him to the TACCON cadre. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in Dallas.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.